song play. You don't cut that song off. Can I just say my life is complete with that entire intro, and then now what you're wearing, and then you guys coming out and do like we're done. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Also, round of applause for our ASL interpreter. Can we just establish something? What is the sign for karate? Yes.
I gotta bring that into Miyagi-Do. I can use it.
Yeah, there you go. So, like that song says, history repeats itself. Did you guys ever imagine that history would be repeating itself and that you'd find yourself like finding these characters later in life and picking the story back up?
Not at this level.
Yeah.
It's been amazing. Thanks to you guys. We get to keep doing it, so thank you.
Yeah, you guys?
I knew it was coming. I've been training for 35 years.
You guys look amazing.
When I was 18, I'm like, in 35 years, there's going to be a thing called YouTube Premium, and I'm going to be on it. We're going to do Cobra Kai.
Such a visionary.
Yes, that's right. Thank you.
And I knew I had to say, I had to tell the rest of the world that Billy Zabka is still the, the Karate Kid, and that the crane kick was illegal. And I knew someone would listen to me at least 35 years later.
Yeah. Well, that's what's interesting about this series is that it all kind of started with a fun YouTube fan theory that kind of re-edited the film from a different perspective, and then kind of actually turned into this like really genuine, heartfelt kind of other viewpoint of this beloved 80s movie, which we never get that. We never get to, it's just a snapshot always, so.
Yeah, for sure. It didn't start with that theory. That was one of many theories and things along the way. Just to clear that up, because this isn't just going to a room of 500 people, it's going to the world for
Yeah.
So, but that was a fun theory, but there was a lot of songs along the way. I did a music video called Sweep the Leg, he did a Wax On, Leap Off video, we did How I Met Your Mother together. Pop culture's been talking about Karate Kid, and generations of kids are seeing it from you awesome parents showing your kids. And somehow Karate Kid has never left the consciousness of our culture, and it's something really cool about the values of the movie and the spirit of the show, and then put it against karate, and we have a show called Cobra Kai,
Yeah. I love that. We see these movies, and again, it's just kind of this snapshot of that period of time. So then to pick it back up and see like, oh, maybe you weren't like always the hero, and maybe like you were going through some stuff, and like you were being bullied. Like just to get that other perspective is so.
I think a film like Creed it sort of lent a hand to it making sense. It's sort of going into the Rocky Balboa world from the son of Apollo Creed, in this case going into the Karate Kid universe from the perspective of whatever happened to Johnny Lawrence. We certainly learned what happened to Daniel. We had plenty of Daniel LaRusso backstory, but not Johnny Lawrence backstory. So this was the perfect way to get into that world, and then open it up and to delve into more gray areas as these middle-aged guys try to make sense out of their lives.
Well, I wouldn't say Marty's middle-aged. But I'll go with that route.
Be careful, he can still kick your ass.
And we've seen it.
Yeah.
You too much TV.
And congratulations, literally just 2 days ago, YouTube announced season 3. Thank you. And you literally have no excuse now because they're making their streaming service free. So not only did you guys not really imagine it coming back, but now 3 seasons and like following this story and seeing where it evolves to this next generation, and like what's that now like that you're like in it?
It's crazy, but it's free. Yeah, it's free next year, and then the year after that, they're actually going to pay you to watch it. And it's a paradigm.
It'll just be on your phone like that.
Hey, guess you watch this, they'll send you a check for watching it.
Yeah.
In fairness, what they're doing, because the messaging isn't completely clear. I mean, right now the show is available on YouTube Premium without commercials. In the fall, season 1 for a few weeks will be available to binge for free with commercials, and then season 2 will be once a week. And then once they get to 2020 and season 3 comes out, then on the day it comes out, you either have the option to binge it all at once, premium, or watch it with commercials. So they just, segue into a new model that allows more people to see the show. That's at the end of the day, that's the great part about it.
And I do want to talk about season 2, but I want to be careful because it literally just came out like April 24th last week. But we do see this in the trailer that you guys,
Mix it up a little
30 plus years, you finally have your big rematch. What was the training like, and what was the tension like to like get back in that place, and the kind of, I guess, the parallel and perpendicular of doing that scene in the original and that fight, and then picking it back up?
So we had a day, like 2 days. We did the Karate Kid. We had 3 months to rehearse the final fight. So we had a whole month before we shot the film to go over the fight, so everything was, really choreographed and blocked out. On this show, we're moving so fast, and there's so many fights that they're like, oh, well, in the middle of one of our acting scenes over here, they pull us to a room and say, oh, tomorrow we're shooting your fight scene. So we go in the room, we're like, what? We're exhausted. And we
Send us some videos saying,
show us,
study this.
Yeah. And so there's like 2 stunt guys doing all this like butterfly kicks and all this craziness. We're like, you gotta learn that in a day and come back tomorrow. So we cut some of it out and then came in the next day and shot it. And it's kind of like old school for Ralph and I and Marty, because we're used to throwing elbows and knees at least 35 years ago, and now we're doing it again. But it came together at the last minute, and I got pretty beat up from his blocks, because he's got a pretty good block, and I was throwing some hooks.
It was just, when we had more time back in the day.
Yeah.
So those scenes were rehearsed like a ballet. I mean, whether it was the fight at the fence with the skeleton, the Halloween fight at the fence, or the fight in the final fight that we had in the tournament in '84. Was all, we just kept working further, coming closer and closer together, weeks on, with wood pads, then they took the pads off. But when we did Cobra Kai, honestly, we don't have the budget or the time for that, so you're really shooting on the fly.
Yeah.
And you're 35 years older, so everything kind of hurts.
Yeah. I'm going to ask one more question, and then we're going to kick it to you guys. That wasn't an intended pun, but I'll go with it. So go ahead, if you want to ask a question, just go ahead and line up with that microphone right there. No, you're good. You can ask it from right there. You guys are obviously actors, and learning martial arts was part of your craft in the film, but the film does such a beautiful job of really showcasing martial arts, almost in a way that we hadn't really seen, and obviously inspired a lot of people to go into martial arts. Did that carry with you? Did you guys in any way, I mean now you have to, but in the in-between, did it integrate itself at all in your life?
I for a little while after, but Billy took it, carried on more seriously, and so now I'm paying for that. But we're back in it now.
Yeah. What about you?
The interesting thing for me was, I always loved it, but I loved Kendo, and it created a foundation for me doing those movies and then practicing a lot of Kendo, because I like sword work and bows and all that. But what stayed with me and with my kids was the value of the discipline of karate, the value of the discipline, and it feeds itself into other parts of your life.
Yeah.
That stayed with me for a long time, because the introduction was so strong from Miyagi's point of view.
Yes.
As the defensive art versus the offensive sport, right? John Kreese, created that for himself. So that's how it stayed with me for years, and through now.
Yeah. Can I give you a shout out for a movie you're in where you're just a total badass action hero called Steel Justice, which is an amazing movie that one other person has seen, but that means you should all go watch Steel Justice. I'm sorry, I had to take that moment. Yes, hi, first question.
How you doing? First of all, I want to thank you guys, because ever since I was a little kid, 7 years old, my father showed me the movie, and I've been practicing it for the last 18 years. So I want to honestly thank you guys very much. My question honestly is for all 3 of you. If you guys have in the past practiced any style of martial art, what style is it, and which one would be your favorite?
Well, I was training Tong Sudo. Pat Johnson, who was a referee in the Karate Kid, is a grandmaster of Tong Sudo, and I teach training that's on the film, and I trained with him a number of years after. So Tong Sudo, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is also great. My son's doing that. He's 9, he's in and out of that. My daughter's 5, she's doing Tong Sudo too, so I go those directions, But all of it's cool. I was also a wrestler in high school, so I had a good ground game, I think you need to be well-rounded as a martial artist, on your feet and on the ground. So Jiu-Jitsu and Tong Sudo, or offensive karate, I think is my thing. Ralph likes the more ballerina stuff.
Yeah, I like the more ballerina. I'm just in a lotus position.
That's totally not true.
Just Taekwondo.
Peace and balance, yes.
Peace and balance, baby.
Yeah.
And life and art and work.
And Steel Justice was my intro into Okinawa Te,
Yeah.
which was really, that's my my favorite. It's very fascinating discipline. You know, it's really great style. Okinawa Tay, right out of Okinawa.
Nice.
All right.
Good question, man. Good segue. Hi.
Hey, thank you guys for coming. I hope you guys have had a great weekend. I know you've made it a memorable one for all of us here. The question I have is, you know, for many of us, Karate Kid is one of our favorite films, and it's one of those films where if I'm changing the channel and Karate Kid, it doesn't matter what point of the movie it's on, I stop and I watch. For you guys, what movie is it that you guys, whenever you're watching a film, like, once you get to that channel and it's on, you just have to watch the rest of it?
Wreck-It Ralph, I think.
I like Bambi.
Bambi?
No, just the first part.
Too soon.
Sensei.
Too soon? Too soon. It's an original animated Disney film.
Billy knows that I cry at supermarket openings.
There's a couple of them.
Carlito's Way, that's one I can't stop watching.
Apocalypse Now is another one.
Godfather, yeah.
Godfather's up there too.
Yeah.
The Bad and the Ugly.
The Outsiders.
Yeah.
Now, if that
Python 1 and 2.
if that happens with Karate Kid, do you guys ever, or is it automatic change?
It comes on?
Yeah.
Karate Kid 1, yes. Karate Kid 2, maybe. Karate Kid 3, not really.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Is 3 the one with Hillary Swank?
No, that's 4.
No, that's
Oh yeah, we don't even talk about that one.
That's right.
Hi.
Hello, my name's Alexis. I'm 15. I've been watching Karate Kid since I was like 6. I ran around doing the crane all the time. My mom made me the little headband and I'd wear it all the time. But my question is, what was y'all's favorite project to ever have worked on?
For me, The Outsiders is really special because it was my first big role in a big major motion picture. But that and the Karate Kid, the original Karate Kid, is so neck and neck. But I got lucky a few times.
I would say Karate Kid was my first film. That was the first one's always the best one. But I also had a blast. Like if I had to reshoot anything again today, just for how much fun it was, we'd be back to school. Rodney Dangerfield and those guys. We had so much fun. It was like the movie is what it was off camera. So that was a good fun time.
Yeah, and for me, it was doing Wide Earp with Kevin Costner.
It's such a great film.
Larry Kasdan, the director, and Kevin, you know, it's like working with a big kid, you know, and doing a Western. I mean, it doesn't get better than that.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey.
Hey, how's it going, guys? Thanks for being here.
You can move the mic stand up.
I know, I did. The person behind me, so I figured I'd just,
Yeah, it's a good sliding stance.
I'll just be courteous to whoever's behind me. So, the No More Kings Sweep the Leg video is so epic and amazing. Can you tell us about how that project happened and how you all got kind of brought into it?
Sure. Who's seen Sweep the Leg? I'm just curious. Has anybody seen it? All right. Go on YouTube and put in Sweep the Leg, No More Kings. It's a lot of fun. It precedes Cobra Kai by about 8 years almost. That was a song that the band No More Kings wrote called Sweep the Leg, and I met the head of the label, and he said, I have a band, they just wrote a song called Sweep the Leg, and I'd love for you to be in the music video. They played it for me, took me to his house in Florida, played it on this boat. I wanted to jump off and get the sharks because it was like, I don't want to do that. And I said, if you let me write it, direct it, maybe I can do it. So he let me write the script, and the budget came together, and I got Marty involved and all the original Cobra Kais. At the end, Ralph jumped in on it, and it was a 2-day shoot. Did that 2 days, and then a half a day pickup. Yeah, Ralph read it, and he said, how many day shoot is this? I'm like, 2. He goes, good luck. It's like a 5-day
Good luck.
script.
Come back to me after you cut it together.
Yeah, I mean, we had wire work. I mean, it's all very elaborate video, you know, and it's super high budget, you know, and visually and all that. So it's a lot of fun, and that was like the first time for me turning back into turning towards the crowd and realizing how many fans there were out there. Because up to that point, I hadn't touched it like that, and I was like, so it's kind of a risk to do that. I thought this could backfire, people could hate it, or they're gonna love it, and they seem to love it, and all of a sudden it was like Cobra Kai bowling leagues and knitting clubs, and like all of a sudden I love it, you know, wow, you guys are out there, you know. So it was cool, it was a lot of fun. But check it out on YouTube, it's a lot of fun, yeah.
I just showed it to a friend of mine last week and he lost his mind.
Awesome, thanks a lot, man, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hi, thank you for being here, and thank you for bringing joy to generations. I loved the movie growing up. I've shared it with my son. He's now a fan. But I wanted to ask you about your work on How I Met Your Mother. It's another show that I think a lot of us enjoyed. So what was that like, joining that cast and just having to jump into a group that had gelled so well together? And how much were you really playing yourselves, and how much were you acting that part?
It was a great experience for both of us. Billy was on it certainly much longer than I was. It was, you know, they were super fans of us, but it's always so weird because they were teeing it up for seasons. The Barney Stinson theory, which is, you know, plays into the Cobra Kai show, you know, and it was. They're as well-oiled a machine as a comedy group that I've ever seen. They just, from the director, the writers and the directors, the director and all the cast, it was kind of seamless. As far as how much of ourselves, you always put a little of yourselves into everything, and it was fun for me to sort of try to present a mirror version of Barney Stinson, which is his worst nightmare, that someone would think that he's like the guy he hates the most. And it was a fun play on that, and I'll let Billy take it from there.
I got a call to be on the How I Met Your Mother, and I jumped at it, and I said, before I even read the script, and I said yes, and then they sent me the script, and it's basically a clown the whole first 3 acts, or to the end, and at the end the clown takes his makeup off, and it's me in a Cobra Kai gi with a headband on, right? That's the only time I speak, and I'm like, okay, that's a safe way to bring me back to television, just put me in a clown outfit and shut the hell up, you know? But then there was also Ralph Macchio, and I'm like, there was no way Ralph's gonna do this, and then Ralph's like, he did it, and I'm like, okay, let's go do this. We had so much fun. That first time back on the set with those guys was incredible. The welcoming was incredible. And then, I was really fortunate that they called me back and they wanted to elaborate on it, which was nice, so I could be out of my clown makeup and be myself on the show, which was surreal. So I'd sit in the table reads, and there's all the characters, Barney Stinson and what have you, all around the table, and then there's Billy Zabka as a character. I'm like, this is so weird. Like, I kept pinching myself. I'm like, what am I doing here as me? You know, I mean, just put your own name on that. It's like how it feels. But they're amazing. The writers, the directors, and Neil and all of them. Kove, I just saw her at the Billboard Awards last week, and they're just the most incredibly generous artists and no egos, and just like so thankful to have you there. They made it so seamless and effortless. It was a big blessing. Like I thank them all. Every time I see them, I'm like, thank you for that show. You know, and as far as playing myself, I get to do comedy on that, which there's a lot of comedy in me that doesn't get to come out too much. You know, it doesn't Cobra Kai, but you know, up to that point it had. So to play a funny version of myself, you know, still not the true self, funny version. It's a great show. Thanks a lot.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Hi.
Hello, so this question is mainly for Ralph. I loved you in Karate Kid, but I wanted to talk to you about your most iconic role, of course, in Psych. And so I was wondering how you got that role and how it was just filming with James Roday and Julia Hill.
What was, because I did a few characters on Psych, which is your favorite, or which is the one you're talking about?
The one where it's like, I like to think Academy, you and last year.
Yeah, the Police Academy, the guy who's Nick Conforth, who's the best Academy teacher, but in the line of fire turns into a bumbling idiot. It was a lot of fun. Those guys are great. The whole team there, from the creators on down to Dule and James Roday, they're just fantastic embrace. I got to do 2 episodes, and then I did the Christmas movie. I hear so much about Psych when I come to these Comic-Cons, and it just has such a cult following. I think they just did another movie, or they're shooting it right now. And Billy did the show too. So they're great. They're super fans of Cobra Kai and super fans of the Karate Kid and us, and it's awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hi.
How you doing? Thank you for being here. Thank you for your work. I myself, because of the Karate Kid, did martial arts growing up and did get to a 2nd degree black belt. And thank you for inspiring me to do that. That was wonderful. Thank you. My question is, you all 3 look so young. How long was it? How
lights, man.
Probably. How long were you in Hollywood before you were no longer considered a youth?
How long are you in Hollywood? Do you know where?
Sorry, how long? I mean, how do you guys stay looking so young, so good? I mean, you guys just have young faces. I mean,
It takes a village every morning.
Village?
We start about 5 a.m.
The oxygen tank and then the broccolini for breakfast.
That's right.
I've been in an ice. I've been in a really big cube of ice for like 20 years.
We just thought out. John Kreese and Marty Kove just merged, like not even a day older. Listen, you know, we blame our parents and taking care of ourselves maybe a little bit. As far as living in Hollywood, I've always lived in New York, but you can't blame it on that. I blame my parents, and unfortunately for us in the show, we remotely look like we did 35 years ago.
Thanks. Hi.
Hey guys, how's it going? My name is Juno. I just wanted to say thank you. I mean, my first memories, when I was 4, that was the year Karate Kid 2 came out, and 2 was actually my favorite movie before 1, because I was obsessed with the song by Peter Cetera. But you just inspired a whole life of martial arts love for me and all my best friends. And when you think about the history of martial arts, you got Bruce Lee, who had a whole career building it. You have Chuck Norris, who had a whole career building it, Van Damme, Seagal. But you guys inspired an entire generation with one movie. Have you guys thought about why the Karate Kid was so influential in getting kids to start training, getting kids to start loving the arts?
Great question.
There's a great element of wish fulfillment in the Karate Kid film, and that character, from that perspective, I'll just speak from that perspective, he represented a piece of all of us. He had no business winning anything, you know, so there was a bit of magic, soulful magic as I call it, with Mr. Miyagi and having that great mentor, and it connected with, say, if someone, a child of a single parent family, or someone moved to a different town, or someone who's bullying. So it checked a lot of boxes that we all go through. That's part of the reason I think it's resonated for this much time.
I think also, I totally agree with that. I always say that I was, personally, I think Ralph and Marty were the first recipients of that wave of martial arts, because we all came into it knowing no karate. So I came into it just cold, and their sensei, Master Pat Johnson, teaching me. And also Sensei Fumio Demura, who was Pat Morita's double. So you had these two guys that were legends, old school martial artists, inserting the true martial arts into the DNA of this film. And they literally trained us all, they choreographed it all, and so the true kind of spirit of martial arts came into the film and kind of came out, you know? So we were at the first end of that, and of course with the great writing and with the story and with the emotion you feel and all those things, kids were coming out at the end, you had the crane kick, and my fans were coming out going, Dad,
the greatest hit film history.
But kids, you know, people saw that, and it was like that feeling, I want to go do karate, which is happening again with Cobra Kai, which is incredible. I have so many kids coming up saying, I watched Cobra Kai, I want to take karate. It's amazing, it's incredible. And you know, we meet so many guys like you, and Marty and I did a thing in Vegas last year for the martial arts convention with 1,000 or so of the best top senseis from around the world coming to seminars. And we got to introduce them and give a lifetime achievement to Sensei Demura, and Pat Johnson was there, and Betty the Jet Yukitas, and Billy Blanks, and all these like martial art legends. And to be a part of that, and like, you know, we're actors that personify those characters, but that art can inspire that is just testimony to, I think, the martial arts that came through us into the film, plus the story and all things. And you can't really even pinpoint, it's like, who knows how it happened. It's kind of a miracle in a way, you know. It's cool to be a part of that.
Yeah. And you have to remember that I believe it's the behavior, Pat Johnson, who trained us all separately, you know, Ralph and Pat were trained separately, Pat Morita and Billy and the Cobra Kai and myself, we all trained separately. But it was the behavior. I mean, I took his ki, I took his ki. The behavior and the attitude that these men were really strong men, but they were kind when they trained us, but we learned a lot from them, and I think karate is based a lot on discipline and behavior. You know, that's what works for all of us as actors. We all have that behavior and that wonderful heart of karate, you know, that's behind the behavior.
Great, thank you so much.
Thank you. Hi.
One of the best elements of the Cobra Kai TV show is the fact that it allows you guys time to develop your characters, to see the humanity, including your virtues, as well as your character flaws. My question is, what are the similar qualities that you find in portraying your respective characters, and what are some of the things that are completely, or at least a little bit way off from who you are as a person compared to your characters?
That's a great question, and I think that I guess the thing that I find the most different between me and LaRusso, even adult LaRusso, and for that matter, even teenage LaRusso, is if I got beat up once, I probably wouldn't go back. But it doesn't make for as good a story. LaRusso's story is way better because he wouldn't leave well enough alone. And in the current form, I guess I fall along the lines of like the character of Amanda in the show, played by Courtney Hengler, who plays LaRusso's wife. She is more how Ralph looks at things, meaning like, what? Let it go. It's 35 years ago. I mean, and once again, it's not as entertaining without it. So LaRusso's a little bit more knee-jerk and has a bit more of a temper than I do, but that's what makes it so much fun to play.
Yeah, some would even say he's the bully. I mean,
Marty plays himself in the show.
Or else it's different. There's another edge to it. And those people were students of the Karate Kid. I mean, they knew everything about all the wonderful cast, knew everything about all of this. So I had a ball. But you stay in the context, in the script that they created for you, even though you're playing shades of John Kreese.
Gosh. Thanks.
Thank you, sir.
Hi.
Hello, this one's for Ralph. I actually got to know you first on The Secret of Nim 2. You were one of the characters on that movie. So I basically what was that doing voice role compared to doing live action role? And would you perhaps consider doing another voice role in the future?
That's a great question, and a first at a Comic-Con. Thank you. The Secret of Nim was a great animated film done by Don Bluth, and this was a video follow-up. And I had just come off doing a Broadway musical tour of How to Succeed in Business. I'm really trying. Actually, I did it here at the Music Hall. Is that the theater that's in Dallas? Does that sound right? Yeah. So right off of that, so I had some, singing, serviceable singing. At that point, so then they presented me with the offer to do that. So I got to sing 2 songs and be the voice in the animated film. It was a great experience. I would love to do more of it. It's very competitive now to get into that, and I would love to do more because I'd like to get better at it. I mean, I was proud of how it came out, but like anything else, the more experience you have, the better you can service the work. So thanks for mentioning that, and I hope to do more.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So I see only 3. Yeah. So if we go rapid fire, wax on, wax off, super fast, we can get there.
Hi.
Super fast. Go.
My name is Daniel. I'm a big fan of the show. Ever since I was little, I watched it. I mean, monthly. Like, it's just a religion for me.
Faster.
My question for you guys is, if Pat were still alive, God rest his soul, would he be on the show? And do you think he would be kicking Zabka and Martin's butts? Or, I don't know. What do you guys think?
I think if he was alive, I mean, I know he's shining down on us because he would be so thrilled with this, and he would absolutely be on the show. I think his Miyagi magic would be there, but I don't know. We'd have, you gotta keep the conflicts going. But we miss him, and we're all here because of his performance in the original film.
We all miss him too.
Thank you. All right, rapid fire. If you guys just stand up so we can get through these quick. I want to make sure we. Hi.
Yeah, actually, you answered my question. I saw the production play that you did Was that about 20 years ago?
It was 96 and
96. So I saw you at the Seattle Paramount. Is that the only production that you've ever did?
Of that specific show. I've done other Broadway productions, but that was the musical.
I forgot, what was the name of that? Because I remember seeing that and I thought, well, a chance to see the Karate Kid, and I was stunned when I saw you actually dancing and singing. I thought I didn't realize you could actually do that.
And I didn't suck.
I actually thought you were pretty good.
Okay, good. We can stop there.
I think what we need is a Karate Kid musical.
Well, listen, anything's possible. Anything's possible.
Yeah, thank you. All right, we gotta wrap it up. I'm sorry, guys. Wait, let's, really super quick, and then there's a kid who has a question, so I want to end on that. Go.
Just like many, I too want to thank you guys for, inspiring me and my family throughout the years. Were any of the characters based on real people? Or the names or anything like that, do you know?
Well, Robert Kamen always said that, he had someone who was, I find that really hard to believe. He had, in the Marines, he had a sergeant who was his sensei, who was worse than Don Chris. I can't imagine worse, but he doesn't lie. So it amazes me. I would love to meet him. Maybe I'll learn something from him.
Thanks, man.
I think the seed of the movie was actually an article about a kid that was bullied in school and learned karate, became a black belt, and actually won a tournament. So I think that was like an article.
Yeah,
that was like this, oh, this sounds like a great movie,
Based on a true story.
Yeah.
Thanks. All right. You're up, man. Last question.
It's gonna be a good one.
Kid. Okay.
Hi, buddy. What's your name? Oh.
Anyways, this is Benjamin. I just want to say thank you guys for being here. Ralph, my wife, loved you on Dance with the Stars.
Thank you.
Karate Kid musical, man. Come on.
It's all musicals. This whole panel was about
How was it like filming with Pat and Martin and William? How was it like filming your fight scene in part 2?
The fight scene with the hand through the glass?
Yeah, the second place fight.
Parking lot, I got choked out, I dropped to the ground. He put his hand through the glass, it was actually real glass. He broke his hand 3 times, cut it, right, Maureen?
And I just stood at the side holding the trophy going.
Yeah. And Pabritas went, shh. That was it.
He tweaked my nose. I never liked that.
Thanks a lot.
All right, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you guys.
The Karate Men of Karate Kid and Cobra Kai.
I eat chicken heads for dinner.
I don't know. I don't like bologna for breakfast. That's a difference.
Ketchup?
I definitely don't drink beer for the mornings. I don't know. I mean, there's a lot. He's completely different than me. I mean, but it's my heart in this character. So he's got some things he's working through. The one thing is similar is I love working with kids. I'm a coach of kids baseball team, and so I love having the young kids in there and being a sensei. But there's maybe 2% of me that exists when I play Johnny Lawrence, and there's the rest of it's pushed away. In fact, I call home and my wife's like, "How's it going?" I'm like, "I don't know. I'm depressed." I'm bringing in the bottle again, the character and stuff. So this character, this Johnny Lawrence, is so much different than me. But the similar thing about him is that he's always he's trying to make things work, and he's pushing forward, and that drive's been in me since I was a baby. So. I'm still making it work, and I think hopefully, we're all gonna make it work. Every one of us.
Great. Thanks.
Thank you.
All right, we have time for a couple more. Whoa, what is this crazy sharp thing?
Power Lance from the Power Rangers. This goes to the founder of Cobra Kai. Kind of wanted to ask your experience, and I guess playing the opposite of, quote unquote, the opposite of your character when you had that brief cameo on the Goldbergs. How were you approached? How was that experience? Being on there when they were doing a spoof of, quote unquote, of the Karate Kid.
Well, it was a spoof. Again, they experienced How I Met Your Mother. It was such a well-oiled machine that we often talk about. not trying to control anything. I was going there as a guest star and just doing what they had written for me, which was much kinder than how John Kreese functions. But it was within the context of their story. So I had a great time, did a lot of laughing. Wendy is brilliant, And I saw them, I actually saw them in Los Angeles just yesterday when we did an Emmy show. But the bottom line is you sort of just behave normally. You can't really take John Kreese to too many places, I mean, John Kreese, they rewrite him and sort of funnel him down into a fine feather of a warrior, because you can't do what we do in Karate Kid. It's different. It's not within the context of playing. And when I play with them, the character comes out.